Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. If you're just now joining us, we played every game in 1980 that we could find a release date for, and now we're playing every other video game released in 1980 in alphabetical order. We left off with Baseball for the Milton Bradley Microvision. And the first order of business tonight is we have another redemption for another video game. Back in 2 episodes ago, we played a game called Demon Dungeon for the Acorn Atom, which is a very obscure home computer that was only in England, and we couldn't get the thing to run. It was very difficult to load because they use cassette tapes, and most of the time you can spend 10, 15 minutes waiting for the cassette tape to load, and it didn't even work well for us, and we had problems with it, and so I gave it a bad rating. And so thanks to some of my fans in the UK, they brought up this game and said, we need to try it again, and we've worked it out. So we're going to do another round really fast of Demon Dungeon and re-rate the game so it gets a redemption. Here we go. We're trying it again. Demon Dungeon, released in 1980 for the Acorn Atom. And this is going to be a little different because the emulator is pretty jank. If you notice that we have to load the tape from the emulator and then select the game that we would want, open that tape, and then after we open the tape, then we can finally look at the catalog for the cassette tape to see what we have to type in to get the game to run. A lot of games we play on the channel, we just boot them and go, especially if it's a cartridge, but not here on the Acorn Atom. Oh no. You have to know what command to type. And the other thing that makes the Acorn Atom difficult is the keyboard does not recognize a push and a let go of the key. Not like modern keyboards. It only recognizes one. So whenever you type, you have to type slow to make sure every letter registers. And we've been playing other games for home computers like the Apple II, the TRS-80, and the Commodore PET, and we didn't have to deal with any of this. Get ready for everyone's favorite sound. No, we're not dialing into a modem. That is what it sounds like when you run a cassette tape on the Acorn Atom. And apologies for the screen size. This is as large as I can get it to run. But there it is. We have Demon Dungeon up. It's here. What level of skill do you want? We are definitely playing easy, so I'm going to do 1. We're not going for difficult. You're about to enter the Dungeon of Monsters. Only the fearless should continue. Press any key to start if you dare. And this is it. This is the way the game works. The dungeon is the grid on the left side. It is a bunch of numbers. And the game asks you what direction you want to go. You give it commands like north, south, east, and west. And as you play the game, it catalogs, how much you've collected as far as treasure, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, and so forth. And then you have different stones you can find. And then there's also monsters, and they happen to be random. So you can see we're in the number 4 position. And if I say I want to go south, I push S. It moves me south. We're now at number 2. If I move south again, we're now at 0. So you can see the pattern you're making around the dungeon, and that is the dungeon. That's what you see when you play the game. So that's the graphics for the game. And so if we continue to make our way around, if I keep moving south, there you go. It says I found a ruby, and now I want to head, let's go east, and we move around the map one at a time. So when you play this game, it's randomizing locations of objects and stuff. Oh, and we've met a ghost. So we tell it what action we want. I don't know what S, T, and R. I'm pretty sure R means run from it. S and T, though, tackle the ghost for T, and S means something. But if we try S, the ghost is no more. Maybe that means slay. We slain the ghost. So if we keep going east, you keep going east. So you just make the direction you want to go, and you move your way around the dungeon. And that's how you play the game. It's a role-playing game. It's a rudimentary role-playing game, but not a broken game like we had rated it last time. So that's just a quick taste of Demon Dungeon. And we're going to re-rate this one. It is not 2 stars. 2 stars would be our best of the bad rating. So we're going to go ahead and do it 3 stars for this game. It is perfectly average for what you'd see and play at the time, considering everything else we've played on the channel. All right, so after the redemption, let's go back to our last game we played, which was Baseball for the Microvision. This was the best handheld video game you could play at the time for 1980. So we give it a 5-star rating. After Baseball, our next game is the Battle of Hoth. This is for the Apple II. Let's take a look at the artwork for the Battle of Hoth. There's the front of the box. Wow, bare bones, boring. But it is Star Wars, and if this is an actual licensed game, this is one of the first Star Wars games we've ever played on the channel. Everything else has been someone at home decides to program on their computer and make a Star Wars game, and that's the ones we played. Is this real Star Wars, or someone just made it themselves? I do not know. But that's it. That's all we get for artwork. We have no manual, so we're taking our 5 1/4 floppy disk, we're plugging it into the Apple II, and we're taking off. This is the Battle of Hoth on our Apple II, released in 1980. Let's see what happens. And from the chat, yeah, the Atom does not use the same graphics chip as the TRS-80. TRS-80 was strictly black and white. All right, so here we go, Battle of Hoth. We have a speeder, that's what a speeder looks like, yes. We got the walker, yes, and we got points. There's a mystery point if you hit the base or the body of the walker, and then 10 points for the legs. Oh, this is Baked Apple Users Group, paddle and switch. Here we go, we're entering the Battle of Hoth. And yes, I'm controlling the ship on the left. I'm just moving it up and down across the screen. The sound effects are to be desired. You can see there's little shots for each time the ship's attacking us, but it's doing it. It's a very simple shooter game. What's interesting, it's on a horizontal plane. I'm trying to think of any other game we've played that's been horizontal. That's a shooter. I can't. This might be the very first horizontal shooter we played, even though it's a single screen game. We're not scrolling anywhere. Oh, the Coco. Yes. It might be for the Coco. Yeah, the Model 1, 2, 3. I think they were all black and white. Hit any key to continue. All right, so while this might not look like much, this is the very first horizontal shooter we've ever seen on the channel. Everything else has been like Space Invaders, so either a fixed shooter going vertical, or ships going vertical, or the screen scrolls vertical. And this is the first time we've ever had to shoot anything horizontally. But this is very basic, bare bones. Like you can see as I'm playing, I'm the ship on the left, I'm the speeder, but you're just avoiding the shots of the walkers, and then if you hit them at the top of the body of the walker or the legs, you get points, and then as you scroll off the screen, you just repeat and do it over and over again. So it's the same process over and over again, and this is it. That's the game. That's the Battle of Hoth. I do not know if there's other screens, but I'm playing and getting points, and I'm not moving on to any other screen than this, but I'm pretty sure this is all, what you see is what you get. And we see that a lot for games from 1980. But it's Star Wars. I really want to know if this was the first licensed game or if someone just made this in their basement for fun. Ah! Looks like I lost. They blew up the entire base. The rebels are no more. All right, so that was Battle of Hoth. Just a little quick sneak peek because that's pretty much it. So for the time, that is not in the bad range because it'd be a very fun game to play, especially for Star Wars. So we're looking around average. I'd say slightly below average. So 2.5 stars for Battle of Hoth. Yeah, 2.5 stars will do for Battle of Hoth, considering every other game we've seen up to this point, especially what you could play on a home computer. All right, so after Battle of Hoth, our next game is Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games, also for the Apple II, released some point in 1980. Let's take a look at the artwork for California not specific. Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games, exciting action, menu-driven. So there's 3 games on this: Night Driver, Pinball, and Space War. And this box comes with a sticker in the bottom left corner. CompuShop, computers for home and business. I really hope it was a scan and someone scanned this image and that was a now defunct computer store called CompuShop. And there's the example of the disc, 5 1/4 floppy disk, the real floppy that actually flops. Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games. California Pacific Computer was known to release other releases by Richard Garriott. We saw a Calibeth, and we also saw one of the best games for 1980. It surprised me because I've never played it before. The Black Mage was also done by California Pacific. And just some screenshots for the games themselves. Let's see what it's like. We do not have a manual. We do have some other versions, but they're just alternate versions. All right, we're popping in the disc. Here is Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games, released for the Apple II in 1980. The best of Bill Budge. Created by Tom for all Bill Budge's freaks. Way to go, Bill. All right, so you push 1, 2, and 3, select which disc you want to play. We might swap discs or it's all in the same one. I do not know. Let's do Trilogy. And push enter. Oh, there it is. So here we go. Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games. So it has the title screen. I'm pushing enter, spacebar. A lot of times when we play the home computer games, I'm going in blind because there's no way I've played all these games. So it's the first time I've ever experienced it myself. How do we play the said game? Could we push? Does the joystick work? No, the joystick does not work yet. Nothing is responding yet. I want to play. Oh, did it crash on us? I think it did. Let's try it one more time. Come on, Bill Budge. Sometimes that Apple II, you gotta wax it a little bit. See if you can make it work. All right, let's try this again. 1, enter. And I want to play your Trilogy of Games. There should be 3 different games I can choose from, but nothing's happening for whenever I'm pushing things on the... Oh, you know what, though? There is an Apple button on the keyboard, and yeah, it should be... Yeah, I'm pushing the Apple button on my Apple II, and that doesn't work either. I want to play the 3 games. It's 3 games in one. It's got to be good. Anything for joystick? No, nothing for joystick. So we have the game in. The game is up. We have a title screen, but I'm pushing everything on the... Now we got to do the Commodore 64 trick, which is just push and mash everything on the keys of the keyboard. You know what's funny is as I'm pushing things on the keyboard, it is responding with the ball bouncing around. So the ball's actually moving, but it's not giving me any response for anything on the keyboard. And I pushed the Apple, solid Apple. What about reset? No, nothing. Well, sorry, Bill Budge, we tried. After pushing every key on the keyboard, we could not get it to load, which means the Trilogy of Games, which I've heard is supposed to be good, we're going to have to pass and give it a 0-star rating unless somehow we find the manual or know how to load up the game. So that was Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games. Moving on to our next game. Looks like we're at home playing our Magnavox Odyssey 2, and this is Blockout, or Breakdown, which I'm guessing is a Breakout clone. All right, so let's take a look at the artwork. Here's the front of the box. The Odyssey 2's box art, I always enjoy it. It's not quite as sophisticated or refined as Atari's, like with the oil paintings, or in Intellivision's oil watercolor paintings. This one's more 80s. It pops a lot better. 2 demonically challenging games filled with diabolical wall-to-wall action. It's just going to be a Breakout clone, I'm pretty sure. And there's the back of the box, the ultimate computer video game system by Magnavox. We're starting to see in the home console world, the developers and, the marketing team is trying to do their best to say this is the best video game you'll ever play. Because now in worldwide, we've seen so many consoles. We got Atari that's out there right now. We have Intellivision that's out there. The Magnavox Odyssey's out there, and we're going to see more and more consoles competing, and they're going to say, "Oh, well, this is the best game. You should buy this one." So there's Blockout and there's Breakdown. For Blockout, you have 90 seconds to break through a fourth dimensional barricade, but you have to outwit electronic demons who have the power to stop you cold. And Breakdown is you have 1 minute to bust all the blocks on the screen, but you better be quick because electronic demons keep pushing them back. Demons? There's demons already in video games? This is the first time. Well, I guess we played Demon Dungeon, so that also had demons. Challenge another player or just try to beat the computer. You can even watch the computer play itself. Whenever you throw parties at your house in 1980, just have the video games play themselves. That'll bring all the crowds. All right, so let's see about what other artwork we have. There's the example of the cartridge. I like how the Magnavox Odyssey tells you what to push on the console, because when you plug in the cartridge, you need to know what to push on the console to get the games to start. And this tells us if we want to play Blockout, we press 1. Breakdown, we press... Wait, no. We press 0, then press 1, and then 0 and 2. That's the first we've ever heard of that. But I love it because if I had a Magnavox Odyssey 2, I'd pop the cartridge in, wouldn't do anything with the manual, put the box aside, and then want to know how to play, and it tells you right there on the cartridge. It's a top loader, so it works great. All right, so it sounds like TV static for the video that's playing in the background, but let's see what happens. We know how to load it. It is Blockout and Breakdown for the Magnavox Odyssey 2, released in 1980. So when you first power on the system for Magnavox Odyssey, this is what happens. It says select game, and then on the console, we say what we want to do. So we're going to push 0, and then we want 1, and then now we're playing Blockout or Breakdown. Which I actually forget which one was which. But yes, it's a Breakout clone. And I'm looking to see what the demons are going to do to me. But you move your slider back and forth, and it looks like I'm trying to rescue people before they get to the other side. So it's not technically all Breakout. It's adds another element where you're trying to help people move and get free. Like they're in prison or something. But plays and responds the same, plays really well. We're playing with the Magnavox Odyssey 2 joystick and not a paddle. And the control is not as smooth as the Atari paddles. But yeah, it looks like, are we freeing people? We don't have the manual, so I don't know what the story is, but it's the same thing. You break all the bricks and then you're good to go. All right, cool. Yeah, we got the gist of that one. Let's go ahead and reset the game, or reset the whole console. And this time we'll press 2. And this one is Blockout, which is the other one. Which, I see. Okay, so Atari did the same thing. Instead of bouncing off the blocks, this one is going through the blocks. So we've seen this on Atari and other home consoles. They had 2 different versions like this, but Atari is king. Atari had so many game modes that you could play. My gosh, the sound effects, though, is like... It's like someone's ringing a bell in your ear. Oh, and he's making... Oh, the guy in the middle. Is that the demons? Because he's making the other level add to my blocks I need to break. Yeah, there you go. And when you knock him out, then you kill him, and now you can finally clear the screen. I see. Nope, he's back. So does the game just go on forever? It looks like I can't get rid of them and clear the screen. It just is a never-ending block-breaking game. Or breakthrough, breakout. They have the different names for it, but it's essentially the same thing. Wow. The sound effects. All right, so that was Blockout and Breakdown for the Magnavox Odyssey 2. Very standard for what we see for the time, not pushing anything new. So I'm going to go ahead and give 3 stars, which is the perfectly average game. Very good game you would play for 1980. And after Blockout and Breakdown on the Magnavox Odyssey 2, our next game is Both Barrels for the Apple II home computer. There it is in the bottom left corner. That is the original Apple II. At this point, the Apple IIe has been out, and the game the emulator we're playing on is an Apple IIe that's even more enhanced than the Apple IIe enhanced, just so we can boot the games up faster. So I'm not giving you the full 1980 experience. Otherwise, we'd be here sitting and waiting. Or anytime that these games need to load, we always say we'll go play our Atari or go play a console game while we're waiting for the game to load. All right, so let's take a look at the artwork for Both Barrels for the Apple II. There's the front of the box. Looks like it has High Noon and Duck Hunt. No way. Duck Hunt. That's the first time we've heard those words, but not the Duck Hunt you're thinking. A product of Sirius Software. Sirius Software is notable for having the programmer Nasir Gabelli, and I wonder if he did this one. We can't see the back of the box, so I'm not sure. Let's see. Both Barrels, synergistic software, product of Sirius Software, so probably not by Nasir. But there's an example of the screenshot. If you have a color monitor, if you paid the extra money and bought the color Apple monitor, that's what it would look like. You pay the big bucks, and you get to see that. All right, so let's pop it in and see. This is Both Barrels on our Apple II, released in 1980. I've never heard of this one. I don't know what this is going to be like. Yes, I'm sure you don't want to sit here and wait for cassettes to load. That's for sure. And here's our title screen. Oh, it's building Sirius Software. That's cool. I like how the different companies we've seen on the computer space have different loading screens, splash screens that you can see. Yeah, this one's awesome. Both barrels, partner. Let's put on our tobacco, place some both barrels. Oh, it is programmed by Nasir. Was he the only programmer for Serious Software? Please wait, pictures used in these games were drawn with Easy Draw. I'm not familiar with Easy Draw, but I do know they developed different... Choose your game, gringo. Press H for High Noon and D for Duck Hunt. Cool, so both barrels is 2 games in one. Similar to Bill Budge's Trilogy of Games, which we didn't get to play, but there was 3 games in one. Let's play High Noon. Black Bag presents... Oh, okay, so this game was cracked. Originally, they had copy protection on these games, so we're playing this because this is all abandonware at this point, and we're going to play... okay, return to the menu. It's loading High Noon. Let's see. The object of the game is to kill as many people as you can. The paddles control your aim. The button fires your guns. Select your level of play from 1 to 9. All right, we're going to go to 1 and see what level 1 is like. Here we go. So the way it works is I'm controlling it with I'm controlling it with a paddle. We got bad guys 1, good guys. Okay, there's only one bad guy. I'm controlling the guy at the bottom of the screen, but I'm using a paddle controller, which you could plug into your Apple II. And the control's just moving my arm. You can see my arm moving left and right. And then whenever I want to shoot, yeah, I shoot the gun, but I didn't actually see the bullet. It looks like it's only based on where you're aiming. And I shot someone. I don't know if it was a good guy or a bad guy. It's really hard to tell with the resolution. It was a good guy or a good girl. So someone just got shot that didn't mean to get shot. Well, get out of the way, partner. And it's showing every now and then total shots fired. I wonder if it's going to range our accuracy. But all I have to gauge my shot is my arm. Where are my arms facing? Not Johnny. So yeah, bad guys, it's showing how many I got. And you can see here the paddle's moving. Oh man, he shot me and they showed the blood. Whoa. Is that the first blood we've seen in video games? The first violence in video games. Of course it has to be a shooter, a Western shooter. Now for the home computer, it is slower paced. Most of the time we see strategy games or board games, but it's not giving me a lot of feeling that I'm shooting something, because when I fire the bullet, you can hear the bullet shot, but you don't really see the bullet. It's just, you know, boom, the guy goes down or I go down and I'm blown up and I'm dead. All right, so I forgot how to get back to the title screen. Control something. Was it control? Oh, I don't remember. We want to go back. Yes, and there's digitized voices. That's really impressive. We had another game that we were trying to play on the Apple II, which was Adventureland by Scott Adams. And one side of the disc had Scott Adams give a public service announcement of not to pirate games. When we flipped the disc over, it asked us, do we have a speaker installed on the Apple II? I didn't know for sure if the emulator did or not, but we said yes. And when we turned the disc over, the game just crashed. So we apparently do, because this game is talking to us. It's very muffled, like someone has their hand over the microphone, but it's still talking in a computer game. This would be 2 or 3 of computer games we've played that have talking. Everything else we've seen that where a video game talks to us has been in the arcades. All right, I want to check out the second game, Duck Hunt. So we're going to go back, pop it in, reset, and see what Duck Hunt looks like, because I got to see a game called Duck Hunt and what it's like. I forget the command to go back to the main screen. They told us in the beginning, but it was control something. Can we skip the title? No, like all the other computer games, they're so proud of their title screen that you can't skip past the coolness of the title screen. They don't let me, yeah, there's nothing you can push to go past it. So you have to wait for the guy to shoot all the things all over again. Maybe that's true too. Maybe there was no other side of the game. That's all it was. It was just the public service announcement, and that's all you got. It was a good one, the best one we've seen. And we had someone in chat mention there was security on video games in 1980. Oh yeah, they already started copying floppies back in the 70s. And it's still going to be rampant, especially in Europe, whenever the microcomputers blow up over there. There we go. All right, so Duck Hunt. When your team member flashes, press the paddle button to play or press E to exit. The buttons also fire the guns. Spacebar used instead of the paddle buttons. Use, Control C. That's what we needed to know. Wait, I wasn't finished reading the instructions. All right, so here we go. Team 1. Ready 1. Cool, so it is. You aim, I think I'm picking the character I want, but you pick who's firing, and it's 2 different teams, so 2 different people get to play. And it's not what you think. It's not. It's a different kind of shooter. It's the kind that's based on you only have 1 shot. So now that it's my time for Team 1, when Team 1 steps up, it says ready, and then the duck goes across, and you just have to time your shot to, and you miss the duck. So it's just based on timing. It's not super action. Yeah, at this point, Apple II is the main computer, the biggest selling computer, and the most popular computer. Go! I don't know if you can see the bullet. It's flashing so much. There's so much. The ducks are flashing, and the bullet's flashing. So I don't know if you can even see the bullet flying. It's slowly going up. But that's all it is. You're just timing your shot, trying to hit the duck to go across. Come on! Go! And that's it. You only get 1 shot when it's your time. So going again. Can I even get a shot in? Go! Hit it! Oh, I want to see a dead duck. But this is our first Duck Hunt game. The most popular one, of course, is Nintendo. I didn't even know they had a Duck Hunt on Apple II. But here it is for double points. Duck Hunt. Yes, no double buffering graphics. Anything else? Yeah, so since Apple II was so popular, there was rampant copying already at this point. And yes, the games are already starting to do copy protection. We're going to see lots of ingenious copy protection on the channel as we continue. Oh man, they sped the duck up. Oh, I want to hit a duck. Come on. Okay, partner, we're hitting that duck. It's going down. Yes! We have the duck down. What is this? There's a cow going across. It's our dog. Our dog went and got the dead duck. Good job, Buster. Good job. No, we haven't hit that yet. So 1980, 77 was when it was originally released, but by 1980, I expected the popularity to grow and be there. All right, so that was both barrels for the Apple II. That was very good, very well done. So for the time, considering every other game we've played, there was 2 games for the pack. I'm gonna go above average in the 3.5, 4 range, but I'm trying to see, considering everything else we've seen for the home computer space, both barrels has done very, very well. It doesn't play as smooth as other shooters we've seen, but that's very rare to see a shooter for the Apple II. Plus, there's no light gun. You're playing this with a joystick or paddles. So I'm going to go for 3.5 stars for both barrels, just considering, well, the duck game was pretty cool. I don't know if I can go 4 for that. It's going to be close. Oh, 84. Well, 84 was when the Macintosh was released. And even when the Macintosh was released, Apple II was still pumping out sales. All right, so yeah, we'll go 3.5 stars for both barrels. Above average, very good game, very good. All right, so after both barrels, our next game is, yes, boxing for the Intellivision. And we've already seen, this is the console war between Intellivision and Atari. And we've already seen in some episodes the same released game, like skiing comes out on Atari, and then at the same time Intellivision's come out. And at this point, I couldn't find definitive release dates for these games. So is the boxing next? Oh yes, so back to back we have Atari boxing and Intellivision boxing. So just for fun, let's start with Atari boxing and then do Intellivision boxing. All right, so let's take a look at the artwork for Atari 2600 boxing by Activision for use with the Atari VCS, which is the moniker they're using right now. All right, so let's go with the artwork. Here's your chance to go toe-to-toe with the Activision computer or a friend. 100 points is a KO. Oh, I'm getting from the chat going for the Intellivision one. So that was the order. So I don't know which one was released before the other one or not. We'll go with Atari first, and then we'll go to Intellivision after that. So for the back of the box, put on your gloves. You're about to mix it up in the most pulse-pounding fight for your life. Listen to the thud of those jabs and power punches. Watch your opponent reel back when you catch them in a good one. Keep bobbing and weaving, and don't get pinned against the ropes. It's fast and furious fun. If you stay in training, you'll soon be a champion at boxing by Activision. And there it is, the original Atari controllers that you use to control it. Activision video game cartridges covered by a 1-year warranty. Yes, Activision did so much above and beyond. For 1 or 2 players, that's just a reconstructed box. And then anything, yeah, there's the cartridge for boxing, conceived and designed by Bob Whitehead. Way to go, Bob. For use with joystick controllers, game 1. It looks like there's 2 games on this one, sparring with a player or a computer. So cool. So 2 game modes. And since we're going to be going back to back, this is Atari versus Intellivision. We'll see how this runs for us, how it plays. Yes, every Activision we've seen. Here we go. We got the manual for it. This is the manual. We're hoping to see the developer at the end. So Bob should be at the bottom of the end of the box. So boxing. Most people have fun with Activision video game cartridges as soon as they plug them in and start playing. So go ahead, use your joystick controllers. Yes, Activision games are plug in and play. Intellivision, not so much. You have to do a little more research and read the manual on how to play it. So this explains how to play the game. Yes, the rainbow line effect. That's great. Love it. All right, so turn the power on. Select which game you want, and then use left and right controller, joystick controller. Hold the joystick controller with the red button at the upper left. Yes. So I'm a lefty. And so whenever I used to play Atari, I always would get a little confused because other people that were right-handed would hold the joystick and be in the best spot for the red button. And so I like how they're explaining how to hold your controller where the red button is supposed to be placed when you play. Hold the difficulty for handicapped. So on the Atari console, you had a difficulty switch that you could push up and down. There's A and B. And then press reset to start each minute. So it looks like if your difficulty is, you could do slow or normal speed. And scoring is 100 points for a KO. It's tough, but you can do it. But every time you get close punches, it's 2 points. So cool. So special features of boxing by Activision. I'm really interested to know which one came out first, because we don't know for sure. And if one came out like Intellivision came out, I wonder if Activision marketed theirs to be like how this is better than Intellivision's, or if Atari came out first, what did Intellivision do to market theirs to be better than the other one? Oh, you're a lefty too. Oh, but yeah, you used your right hand. Yeah, I did that too. So I didn't always play left. I would always sometimes have to do right because everyone else was playing right the same way. So I'm with you. I feel your lefty pain. But you know what? Everybody that uses a mouse for a computer, everybody had a right hand, and you had to learn how to use a right hand, even if you were left-handed. They give you an option for mice to be left-handed, but I never knew anybody that used the left-handed mouse. Everyone uses a right-handed mouse. All right, so give yourself a fighting chance. Put the difficulty setting down to make them go slower. Thank you. There he is, Bob Whitehead. Senior member of Activision's design team, designed games for Atari in 1977. And then they always have a whole write-up on what he wanted to say about boxing. We're not going to read the entire write-up, but they do give us a screenshot and explain what is going to be seen on the screen, the score, the time, and then the boxer that you control. So cool. I've never seen that, a left-handed one. I don't even think I want to use it either. All right, so for different versions of the Atari version, we have the European one, and then we have the Areola and Dactar version, and also the one that was included in the 32-in-1 bootleg version. We're going to play the original North American release. This is 1980, and we're playing boxing for the Atari 2600. I do not have a second person with me, so I'll be playing one player. So whenever we push reset on the console, I'm now in control of the left boxer. You can see it's a top-down view, and I have one button that's allowing me to punch. As soon as the other boxer's in range, then I can get a hit in. This, from my experience, was so competitive and so much fun to have with 2 people because it automatically picks the arm you want to jab with. You don't have to pick the arm. It just does it. You move around, and when you get close to their face, then you make a punch in, and then you try to get as many punches as you can. knocking them down until you can get that knockout. But I'm playing against the computer. I think we're going fast speed. Let me try a different difficulty and see if I switch it out. There we go. So I just slowed him down with the difficulty switch. Notice how he's moving a little bit slower. He's still kind of jabbing on me, though. And it's keeping the score at the top for how many punches you got or direct hits. Yeah, so one of the reasons I started this channel was so that other people could remote in to play. And we have had guests on the channel. Next week, we're hoping to have Chris Alimo from Classic Gaming Quarterly come on the show. And I want to have more guests because to see the games is one thing, because you can get the graphics and you can hear the games with sound. But video games is also the gameplay, playing the game for yourself. And so I hope to have more guests come up on the show to play the games with me, to see what it's like to play them. So we can have that happen if we can have more guests that are agreed to come on. It's a little difficult because some of the games are not all of them are multiplayer to play, and so some of them are also the keyboard, like we played with the Apple II. Yes, I keep hearing Dino Wars with a guest. That one's tricky to do 2 players though on the Coco, because right now the emulator's registering both controllers, and it's difficult to separate the two. For some reason, when I try to separate them, it doesn't register as 2 separate controllers. But I do love the sound effects on Atari. I do love the play, the pick up and play nature of the Atari game and the competitiveness. It does have 2 game modes and then 2 different difficulty switches you can pick against. And right now I'm playing a little easier. He's moving slower for me, so it doesn't feel like I'm playing against a human player. When you play against a human, it goes really quick. And you can see I am killing him. I'm the guy on the white side, so I'm 55 to 42. And it does take a while for the knockout to happen. But that's it. Classic boxing on the Atari by Activision. That is excellent. So for the time, that is above average. That's definitely going to be one of the best things. Well, not one of the best things you could play at home, but a very good game you could play at home. So I'm not going to go up in like the best thing you could ever see on a console or the best thing that's pushing the things on the console. So I'm going to go for 4 stars for boxing. Maybe 4.5, considering how iconic it is. Yeah, I'll go for 4.5 for boxing on Atari. No, I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to think of it. We've seen other things for the home console space up to this point that have been better than boxing. So we'll go 4 stars. It's very, very good, but it's not pushing into like the best thing you could play on a home console. Okay, so after Atari's boxing, 4 stars, let's go and see the other side of the console war. This is boxing for the Intellivision. Let's take a look at the artwork for Intellivision's boxing. Well, if Punch-Out released right now, it'd be 5 stars, but it's not. So it's going to be interesting when we actually get to the 80s and we see up to that point what the range would be. Okay, so artwork. Here we go. This is the front of the box for boxing. And I'm surprised. Why isn't it endorsed by a boxing association like everything else we've seen on television? I wonder if they were going for the rights. Yes, I'm so glad someone brought up Dino Wars and had me revisit that one. So it got redemption. When I was playing it, the emulator was controlling both joysticks, so it was like simultaneous dinosaurs moving. And I thought it was just dinosaurs moving, which still was impressive because of how large the sprites were. But when I got schooled by someone who explained what it was and how to play it, I played it again and re-rated it. That's pretty cool. All right, so the back of the box, the strategy and excitement of real ring action, punches and counter punches, plus a variety of quick moves as 2 fighters face each other. Win by knockout or 15 rounds to a decision. 15 rounds? They play 15. Like we've seen between Atari and Intellivision. Intellivision's going for the realism, making it look real, feel real, and may even go for simulation. So this is more like a boxing simulation. Oh, I love the spotlight effect. Yeah, pretty cool. And it's a different angle of how it's viewed compared to Atari. So you stand toe-to-toe, 2-player game. You and your opponent choose six available fighters with different skills and levels of endurance. What? You control the punches, feints, and evasive maneuvers and try to get your opponent against the ropes for the big KO punch. Computerized referee automatically scores the punches that land, and there's a simulated round clock. Oh yeah, this This has more to it, that's for sure. So there's a reconstructed back of the box. Is that the same? Yeah, same thing. Same words. And there's our overlay. And Intellivision has the overlay with, wow, so many different controls. So this is going to be difficult to translate without having the Intellivision controller in front of you, but we're not going to use it against that, because if you played anything like Intellivision Lives, I love how they make it so it's easier and accessible to play the game with the keypad. And there is our cartridge for boxing and our screenshot. Let's take a look at the manual for Intellivision Boxing. Yes, 2 players. And that artwork makes me think of how they want to make the sprites look like the boxers. Love it. It's the battle of the century. Both players select and go with their contender for 15 grueling rounds to decision. Or one boxer wins by knockout, and this fight is history. The computer is the referee. Body punches, feints, hard shots to the head. You can even pull your punches. Rounds, time remaining, seconds count for a knockout and a knockdown, and running point totals automatically displayed. Here's supercharged excitement, the ring strategy and action of big-time boxing. Will your fighter be champion? So how to win. Boxing is skill, not just throwing punches. If you want to win, read this booklet. Yes, the manual. I love the manuals. I wish I had more of the manuals whenever I had Intellivision. Object of the match. Yes, win by knockout or decision in 15 rounds. That's awesome. So there you go. There's the setup for the time. That's what you're expecting to see. CRT television, your Intellivision, CRT television, then the Intellivision with the 2 controllers. You put the cartridge in the slot, and then you have the on-off switch. And then you press the reset button. The title screen's going to appear. And there it is, the overlay. How to put the overlay into over your keypad. Remove the handheld controller from the console. Insert into the overlay. And man, look at all the controls. You have pulling a punch, high left punch, high right feint, left and right punch, middle punch. You have duck. You have low left punch. And then you have the disc, which I'm not a big fan of the disc, but... I just saw the chat. Strawberry versus blueberry. Love it. Press the keypad to throw punches, pull punches, and the direction disc to move your boxer one control at a time. Pressing 2 keys together or a key and the disc may cause the TV screen to go blank. Should that happen, press any key, the picture will return, and the fight continues. Are you serious, Mattel? You released a game that if we press 2 keys together or the disc and a key, the screen might go blank? I don't believe that. We're totally going to push the disc and a button at the same time. So, fighting speeds. Boxing matches can be fought at 4 different speeds unless you select a lower speed. Select 1 to 3 speeds, 1 and 2 and 3 on the hand controller. So when you first start, you do medium, looks like, and then 1, 2, or 3. So those are our different speeds. Fast, slow, and... is that 2 mediums? Fast, slow, medium. And then after that, then you push the direction disc on their hand controller and the title will appear. Select your speed. And then after you select your speed, press the disc a second time means a bout will automatically be fought at championship speed. So we're not going to push the disc. We'll push one of the buttons. Then after that, both players will pick a different fighter. Fighters have different characteristics, power, endurance, etc. Flip a coin to see who picks first. Yeah, you have to do the honor system. And then you pick on your keypad 1 through 6 to pick the fighter you want. When both players have selected, push enter on the TV screen, that you'll switch to the ring. So this means you have 6 different fighters to pick. I want to see what the fighters are. Does it explain it in the manual? So after you do that, then the bout is on, the buzzer begins, and then you use your disc to move your fighters on the ring, and you start punching. At the end of the round, fighters break off, return, and both players press their disc to begin the next round. So that's cool. You can decide when you're both ready, and you both move the disc to say you're ready to go for the next round. Okay, so picking fighters. You got... okay, so first of all, for fighting games, one-on-one fighting games, Dino Wars was one of the first where you had one person that was on one side, one person on the other, and fighting. But the very first that we ever saw any example of this was Warlord. Warrior. Warrior was a top-down vector-based game that you were swinging swords back and forth, but it was a one-person fighting game. That was the very first example we've ever seen. And then we had Dino Wars that also had one-on-one fighting, but this To pick fighters, though, is the very first time we've ever had a one-on-one where you can choose who you want. You got blue, red, tan, dark green, light green, or yellow. And you're pushing the button, and you also get to select what kind of defense they want. So if I'm going to pick somebody, let's do the exceptional endurance. Let's do offensive power. So I'll do the red guy. So I'll remember to push number 2 whenever we select our man. And then after you do that, you decide who goes first, and then the computer's the referee. Man, just like every other Intellivision manual, it's so much information. So much is in the game that it's not just a simple, it's not a simple affair. You can really get involved and play a lot longer with these kind of games, especially for the Intellivision. It's awesome. All right, so punches that win points. Yep, he's down. So you can see here, there's so much on how to play the game. So whenever you go down, how do you, the crowd starts to roar, and then it's possible for both fighters to flatten each other. That's awesome. Use the edge of your controller disc to move the fighter to an advantage and keep him on the ropes. Pulling a punch, how to fake a punch, and then how to duck. And then every time, how to, at the very end, going the distance. Every time your boxer gets hit, it hurts. Every punch a fighter takes drains energy, slows him down. No energy penalty for missing or practice punches, but blocking punches cost energy. So there you go. There is an energy bar in the top, looks like top left or right corner, and you have an energy bar, and this is the first time we've seen that. Well, Dino Wars had that with the 100, they had 100% on either side, so I'll give them that. They had an energy bar as well. And then, of course, we got the tips and strategies on how to win. Oh, man, this is awesome. And then, as usual, where's... oh, yeah, they have the replacement overlays. Do they have any... there they go, the Intellivision Game Owners Club. Oh, man, yeah. Intellivision has upped the bar when it comes to consoles. I will give it to home computers, though. Computers already are adding the complexity that you could spend months and months playing some of these computer games we've seen already. All right, so lots to digest there. If we need to, we'll look at the manual again. Let's pop it in. It is Boxing on the Intellivision, released in 1980 by Mattel. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is select our speed. So we push now we choose our man. We wanted number 2. And there we go. So I'm plugged in as usual. The first controller is in the second slot. And I don't think this had a computer controlled character. So that means I got to plug my second controller in and play as if I was the second control. So who was we'll do number 5. There we go. Mr. Green versus Mr. Red. And after we do that, then we push enter on, is it the first controller? Oh, you say enter to say you're ready, so you're locked in. So you push enter on the second controller. There you go, we're locked in. So it doesn't have a computer control, so you have to have 2 people to play this. That means I would give Atari a nudge, because to play with a computer means you could play by yourself if you wanted to. Okay, so you have to show you that you're ready. And as soon as both players move their disc, they're both moving on the screen, they're both moving freely. So as I move my disc around, I have a good range. So it's not just a 2-dimension. I'm be able to move around a 3D, for the time, area. So it's pretty good. Go strawberry, go pea. All right, so I'm just messing around, moving and see what the fighters feel like, but I'm going to go ahead and control the red boxer and then throw a few punches and see what it's like. Oh, yeah, that's cool. So you can do a left-right punch. You have control of both arms to punch, and you can also fake a punch. And you can also duck. Nice. And then, oh, this is great. Yeah, this would be so much fun to play. With 2 people, this would be the better boxing game to play, for sure. Now, the controls are different because it's not just one button on the Atari. You would have to hold the Intellivision controller with your thumb on the disc, but then also be pushing the top buttons to get your punches in. But way more depth involved. That's pretty cool. And I love the large sprites. I was blown away by the large sprites in Dino Wars. Just seeing something that big come at the screen and scale coming at you. This one does not scale. Even though we can move around the screen, the sprites are staying the same size. but it is automatically moving the other character. There's 2 controllers plugged in, but the Mr. P is moving by himself at me, so I don't have to move at him. So there you go. It does the timeout, so that's the first round that's done. And then whenever both people are ready, you move your disc. We both move our disc at the same time, and it says, yeah, it tells you're ready for the next round. You can go to the next round. So cool. So it is a lot easier to play if you have the Intellivision controller with the keypad, because for emulation, I have to bring up a virtual keypad and then manually go and push each one for what you would want to control. So you wouldn't be able to move and push on the keypad at the same time, which is slightly the detriment for the Intellivision games, because no controllers nowadays have a keypad. Most modern controllers have a joystick and buttons on the side, and the keypad is now outdated. That'd be cool if they did have a toss in the towel button. All right, that is excellent. So if we go back to Atari and we do a look at Atari, obviously the look is better on Intellivision, and the game modes with different fighters that you're able to play for boxing, we're going to give this one the notch, and this one is going to do I'm going to do 4.5 stars for this, because this would be the fighting game that you would want to play and the better game. And like other games we've seen on Intellivision, it's pushing the bar for what games on console should be like. It doesn't have to be just a pick up and play or an arcade affair. It can be something you can really digest in and play for a long time. That's great. All right, so after the console war of boxing, our next game is, it's the ZX80. So we're now in England, and this is the Sinclair ZX80. And sadly, the ZX80 does not load. This is more of a placeholder to say it was released in 1980. Don't forget the ZX80. And it's a very difficult home computer to program. If you look over in the bottom left, the ZX80 was essentially a larger calculator. That keyboard is one of those chiclet keyboards, very spongy, and it's not really anywhere close to our modern day keyboards. So it won't be able to load, but it's an all ASCII programmed game. So if you look at the screenshot, it's Breakout, but it's you're moving a number 9, that's the ball, and then asterisk are the bricks. So it will not load, but it is Breakout with ASCII. So for the time, considering other computers you could play, we're going to give this one the best of broken, because every other home computer you could play will run better, perform better, and look better. And so we're going to give this one 1 star, which is the best broken we could give for the ZX80. They are just starting off in Europe with the home computer space. At least self-built computers. They already had kits that they were building. So for Breakout, after that one, let's move on to our next game. Our next game is Casino Slot Machine. That is true. Very, very popular because of the cost. So lots of people had it, and there was not a lot of other home computers that were built that you didn't have to buy a kit to build yourself. All right, so Casino Slot Machine is a casino game, and like every other casino game on the channel, we are going to breeze by it, give it a 0 star. Anything that has to deal with gambling or casinos, we're going to move right over it, because we won't be spending our time on those games, especially fruit games like this one. So after Casino Slot Machine, our next game is... All right, it is Catch the Ball and Noughts and Crosses, or Tic-Tac-Toe in Europe, for the Philips Videopac. Let's take a look at the artwork for the Philips Videopac, Catch the Ball and Noughts and Crosses. So this is their 19th cartridge, and you can see the different languages for the release in Europe. We don't have the back of the box. Usually we have the back of the box for the Philips Videopac. There's the cartridge. This is the European version of the Magnavox Odyssey 2, so same cartridge with the handle on top, and it shows you how to play. Looks like we're going to do star 0 and 6 for Catch the Ball, and triangle, or wait, star and 0, and then 6, and then star and 7 for Noughts and Crosses. So it's 0, then 6, and then 7. I have to remember that when we actually load the game up. We do not have a manual for it, but let's give it a shot. We're booting it up. This is Catch the Ball and Noughts and Crosses for the Philips Videopac, released in 1980. There we go. When it first boots up, we usually have something to show us. So I'm surprised. Let's try doing triangle. Oh, that's reset. Does the reset work? Let's try this. And to 0, then 6. Oh, no, it is not loading. So the triangle that they were displaying on the cartridge was the reset button, and it looks like reset is not working for us. But it was 0, 6 and 0, 7. Or reset then 7, but it's not loading for us. Let's try another reset. Does it load? Usually everything for the console is loaded for us pretty well. Nothing. No, why? Let's try something from behind the scenes. Give me 1 sec. Looks like we're playing on the G74. Let's change it to a G7000 and see if that helps. All right, try this one now. Because there was different models of the Philips Videopac. Nope, still not getting anything from it, anything on the system, and the reset's still not working for us. Try one more thing. We can boot it up as North American and see if that one works. Going for the reset again. And trying it out. Does it load? Looks like we are not getting any good luck with this one. Sadly, Catch the Ball and Noughts and Crosses is not working for us. So we got to give that one a 0. We may have redemption if it ends up loading at some other point, but live on the show, no luck for Catch the Ball and Noughts and Crosses. All right, so after that game, our next game is Challenge. All right, for Atari 2600. Released at some point in 1980. Let's take a look at the artwork for Challenge. There's the front of the box. Not the same Atari box. This has got to be in Europe. A release in Europe. Let's see, down in the... Yes, it looks like at least this box is the French box. I just saw the chat. Most of the Philips games work. Videopac has worked for us before. I'm not sure why that one didn't load. There's the example of the cartridge. This has got to be right AB difficulty switch. Oh, by HES. And there's the example of the screenshot. Yeah, with all the flicker, that's what it looks like. All right, let's take a look at the manual. Oh my gosh, the manual. Hand typed. Plus game reset. The player gets 6 ducks to play with. Complete the game including 4 rounds, each round lasting 4 minutes. There are mice moving across the screen, and the duck must avoid touching the mice. Of course, the duck must avoid touching the mice. Difficulties according to the quantity and speed of the mice. The duck will come from the lower right corner of the screen, move along a fixed route, and and then there we go. Okay, so it is Challenge. Oh, okay, and this also has the French version. So possibly in the US and France, or only in Europe for Challenge. All right, so for different versions, looks like we got, yes, it looks like it's only in Europe, and if memory serves, Zellers is a Spanish version of the game. So the first European game for the Atari 2600. This is Challenge by Zellers for the Atari 2600 in 1980. Oh my gosh, yes, the flicker. Le Challenge. En français? Un peu? All right, so let's go with reset and see how it works. So it's playing the... Oh, there we go. I am in the bottom right corner as the duck, and it looks like I'm just supposed to move up, but they're giving us a ditty. The whole time... and you're just avoiding the other creatures on the screen. So the blinking parts, which are extremely blinking, are walls. But it is a little jarring because it's playing constant music, and usually we don't see that constant music. Okay, I get the idea. So there's walls that I'm going around. I have to maneuver around the walls. Why the flicker, though? I don't know why. But you make your way around the walls, and you're avoiding all the mice. It is. It's glory hallelujah. You take every free music you can at this point, right? Okay, so I get the idea. I can't move left and right until I'm in an open space, and then I work my way around the level. Got it. And it's talking. Oh, I did it. It's talking to me at the top. It's saying not bad as I go. That's right. Battle Hymn of the Republic. Thank you. Thank you. This is the very first game on Atari we've played that has a soundtrack. We've played games in the arcades that have a soundtrack, but this is the very first game on Atari that has a soundtrack that's playing music in the background constantly. That was their plan all along. All right, so is there different game modes? Oh, there is. There's 2 game modes. Let's try game 2 and see what this one's like. This is almost the definition of insanity. How long can the player last hearing the Battle Hymn of the Republic over and over again in the background? But granted, the very first game we've played on the Atari with music in the background, I mean, what would you expect? This is pretty much what I would expect for the first game on Atari to have music playing nonstop. And oh, they got me. Or yeah, you turn your volume on your television all the way down, and then you play another album, right? Okay, so 2 is, yeah, I have the second controller plugged in. So if you play on 2, then the second player is now playing, but it's alternating play. So I'm now playing as the second player, even though you can't tell. It's the same green character. Oh, yes. All right, we can do it. Go. Get to the end. We can do it. Oh, I don't believe it. I wanted to see if there was other screens, like when you get to the other side of it. Very cool. All right, so that is Challenge for the Atari 2600. I got to give it to him for the first game we've ever played on the channel with, or I should say, console game. Even computer. We haven't had a computer game with music that's playing nonstop in the background. This was the very first. Arcade is the only one we've seen with music playing nonstop in the background. Well, for Atari at the time, this one is actually pretty good. The music, though, it doesn't help anything. It's cool that we have a first game on console with that kind of music. But we're going to go with... still very good for the time. We're going to go around 4 stars. It's not going to do anything that's going to push the Atari, though. I'm not going to go in this range. That's the best thing you could play. I'm thinking 4 or maybe 3.5 stars at most. Oh, 3.5? Are you thinking even lower? Like it should be even... Oh, so this should be bottom of the barrel for Atari because of the music. Oh, 2.5 stars. Yeah. Well... It's the first time that anyone's attempted to have music, so I want to give it something that, considering what we played at the time up to this point, it's I don't see it as generous. It's a game that's trying to push the music. I would have turned it down volume wise. So we'll go 3. We'll go average for the time. Love the ratings in the chat. We'll go 3, average for the time for a challenge on the Atari 2600. And with that, I'm going to end the night with the Battle Hymn of the Republic looping over and over again for the last game we'll be playing. And we'll continue on playing every game in 1980, continuing with all the releases that were released at some point in 1980. Thanks so much for joining me. We will see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.